Hey, welcome to the Swine Time podcast. I'm here today with our special guest, Derrick Foster from Iowa Central. He is a college wrestler there, and we became friends a couple weeks ago in Grandview, Iowa, at the Grandview, Iowa wrestling tournament. And I say, you know what, dude? We talked for about 30 minutes and became buddies,
Yeah,
dude. And
that was a powerful conversation.
yeah, it was fantastic. And I mean, I was like, man, I should have been recording all this, but you can't just meet somebody, pull out your phone and say, hey, let me start recording. So we became instant friends in within seconds, I would say, of kind of getting to know each other. We became friends. And I wanted to bring Derrick onto the podcast today because he has such a powerful story of I would well, we'll get into your story, but I would say it's a lot of a redemption story. It's very motivational, and it's different than my story, but similar in the fact that you're coming back to college to wrestle at an older age to fulfill something that was unfulfilled and to finish off some uh, things that you want to do. So I'll throw it to you, Derrick. First off, where are you from, and what brought you back into wrestling? You're age 30, is that correct?
Yeah, I'll be 30 next month. I'm
Okay,
turning
so you'll be
30.
30 next month, which
Yeah.
in college age, that's older. Now I think that
Yeah, I'm Unk. I'm
yeah,
Unk
you're
on the
Unk.
team. Yeah, everybody calls
Now
me Unk.
You know what's funny, Derrick, is when I first started posting videos, people would put UNC on the thing. Like UNC's pretty, still got some speed, and I thought they were talking about University of North Carolina, and I thought, how do these guys think I'm wrestling for the University of North Carolina? And then I realized it stood for UNC, which is uncle. So
Yeah.
I was a little behind on the terminology.
Man, I'm catching up. I'm starting to catch up. I'm like, all right, I'm starting to get it a little bit.
So you're originally from Ohio?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Ohio. I'm from Lorain, Ohio. That's where I
Hmm.
was. I wasn't born in Lorain. I was born in Mansfield, Ohio, but I was raised in Lorain, Ohio. So that's where I claim I'm from.
And Mansfield's near the Shawshank Redemption Prison. For
Yeah.
anybody who's interested in that, a place
The
that my
tourists,
family,
that's where everybody has to go for Halloween. They love it. It's really
yeah,
sweet.
that place is great. So from Lorain, Ohio, and then what brought you back to wrestling at age 29/30 in college?
So, like, fresh out of high school, I had a misfortunate run in with the law. So I was getting decent at wrestling. I had a good support system when around the wrestling community. This is why I say wrestling saved my life, and it was the greatest thing ever because I had a good support system through wrestling. So when I turned 18, I had just came back from the Disney duels, and my brother had passed probably about a month before I went to prison because I committed a crime and I went to prison. Me and some knucklehead friends, we were out. I was still pretty angry about my brother dying and everything. So we were out with some friends. We were at a festival, and then it turned into a riot. It was a riot everywhere, and then everybody were just fighting. So me and my friends, we jumped into the riot. We this is usually where we're kind of normalized fighting. Growing up in Lorraine, you're going to fight here,
Hmm.
you're going to fight in this school. This is a normalized kind of behavior. So we weren't surprised by it. It was like, oh well, we just fighting, and then it got carried away, and then people started actually getting hurt. So I was charged with a felonious assault. I was charged with aggravated robbery because a phone had got stolen. I was charged with aggravated burglary. They just basically hit you with two robbery charges at the same time. So I was charged with two robberies and a felonious assault because they said that we almost basically like we damaged this kid a lot. So, and I was 18 at the time. Two of my buddies were 18 and one was 17. And so it was four of us running around beating up the fighting kids. And some kids were fighting back. And then we found one kid, he didn't fight back, and it went too far. So like that aspect of it was crazy. So that landed me in prison for 6 years. Well, I did 2.5 years. I got 3 years charged. And then I did 2.5 years. I came home for 3 months. I was kind of in that reckless mindset of, well, I call felonies now. I already grew up in a hard life. Everybody I'm the first one in my brothers or anybody to go to college, my mom, anybody. So it's like, I'm the first one doing something different, but it was normalized. So when I came home, I was like, hey, you know what? It is what it is now. I'm jumping the streets. I'm already a felon. They don't care about me. Nobody cares about me. I'm here now. So I adapted that mindset. And when I adapted that mindset instantly, God took me out of here. He knew that right there was not it for me. I caught another robbery charge, but this time it was more of along the lines of, I was thinking, oh, I was robbing a drug dealer or anything like that. I thought I was robbing a drug dealer, so I thought it was okay. And it never is. But I thought that was normalized from my train of thought back then. And I got involved in that, and that sent me away for 6 years. So when I went to prison altogether, I did 8.5 years. I was home for 3 months between from 18 to 26. So, well, basically 27. But after that, yeah, that's why I say wrestling saved me, because wrestling kept a community around me that random people would reach out. Random wrestlers, random friends on your teammate, people that you didn't even hang with as a friend, that you would be like, man, like, we were cool during wrestling, but I didn't think they were really my friend out here. Like, I'm running around the neighborhood with my friends from the neighborhood. I'm not running around with my wrestlers. My wrestlers would be the one that'll reach out to me like, man, I hope you're keeping your head high. I hope you're thinking of, like, just got a plan. You got a purpose. We believe in you. It was all wrestlers. My biggest mentors to this day, my best friend, Mark Mose, he introduced me to Caden King, which is a great friend of mine, became a brother. And like, they just kept me in the community. They never outed me. They never just turned their back on me. They never made me feel I was less than. They never did anything to feel like I couldn't still do it. They always spoke life into me. And it just showed me God's love. Like, so like the wrestling community, I related so much with God's love, because it was just, it's feisty, it's fierce. It doesn't bow down for nobody. It tells you what it is and how it is, and still loves you. Like, you've been through it, just get up, keep going. We'll look at you different when you quit. When you quit, that's when we start to look at you like, man, you know what? You don't want it. You don't want it. But if you keep going, we with you. You want to do better, we're with you to do better. We're for it. So like that, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask, so when you go through all of this experience right now, when you were hanging with the, like you said, kind of mentioned, the wrong crowd that gets you into, I mean, you get yourself into it, but
Yeah.
you have, okay, so those guys per se, were they on the wrestling team or no? They were just kind of, so you kind of like got lost from being on your focus. What, at a young age, what kind of puts a guy in that type of mindset that you were in that causes these actions to take place?
I would say the environment, like the guy can be at practice and he's having a great practice. He's in school, everything's great. But once he goes home, it's not the same. You go home, you got your outside friends out there. You're at the park, you're playing football, you're playing basketball, you're around the older kids. And that was kind of my experience. Like, I was going home, I would see the drug dealers, it was normal. I would see the people that looked at robberies and stuff like that as that's a hustle. That's normal, like, so in their minds, this is what I'm seeing. Like, everybody they're in some gangs, like not real gangs, but they're in like neighborhood gangs and stuff like that, so, and it was normal to be over here. Hey, we don't like them over there. We don't like them over there. If we see one of those, we're going to fight them, like, hey, South Side, West Side, we don't like each other. And that was like the environment I was going home to from the wrestling community. So just being in that mind frame was just like a huge transition. I had to keep bouncing back and forth. And if you try so hard to be different, but once one thing starts to fall and you start to, it's like an avalanche effect. You think one thing goes bad, and then you just start to think bad and everything starts going bad. And then you just find yourself in like a rut where you be like, how do you get out? And you only got two options. Either you can go with it, or you go against it and you fight it all the way. You know, and I went the route of, I went with the avalanche, and it just sucked me deeper. You know, it just kept getting deeper and deeper, and I kept getting pulled under, and I just kept seeing that like I was losing my life. I was losing years on my life. I was losing time, you know. So then I fought the current. I went against it. I did what everybody was telling me I could do. I had to believe in myself and believe it was real. You know, I had to start building my self-confidence back up to be like who I am. Who was I before that mindset? Who was that kid that was waking up on those 5 a.m. runs in high school trying to lose weight? You know, who was that guy that was like, you know what, I'm willing to do whatever my coach asks me to do. I'm willing to do the hard things that I don't want to do. If it was a wrestling meet, I would get up early and go do everything else. If it was anything else with wrestling, I would do it. Why can't I do that in my life? So I had to start applying that attitude to my life. And that's when I just was like, man, you just super resilient. You got discipline like no other. Then I started talking to like other prisoners in prison. And I started to feed this mindset once I got the negativity out my body. And I learned like through positive affirmations and what you hear and what you read and everything like that really affects the way you think. I started to understand that I want to practice if I'm able to pass this along to others. So I will wake up early in the morning and give speeches and let the prisoners know like, hey, good morning. I hope you guys are doing your push-ups, thanking God every day. Man, this is my daily rant. And I'll go on a little rant about just something like perseverance, day of the word, you know, word of the day. And this is what we're going to do today. And this is my goals for today. I hope y'all got some goals for today. And I'll leave it at that. And then you got some people that'll chime in like, hey, D, man, I got to go today. Hey, man, I got to go today. I'm doing this today. And you just start to see that effect. And I'm like, man, that's all wrestling. You know, like wrestling just gave me all of that. So it was just like, once I was able to see that, and then I learned a little bit from my fiance. She taught me about like therapy because she's a therapist. She taught me about cognitive behavior therapy and things like that, and just being able to catch my bad thoughts because I wasn't perfect. I still had to work through my own trials of tribulations of clearing those bad thoughts. And if I did have one, be like, we'll replace it with something. Well, you know what? Go read a book or write down something at a goal. Instead of just trying to feed that thought or go down this pattern with this hole of this thought, you know what? I got to redirect it. Give me something else to think about to where my subconscious mind would start thinking more positive. And it happened. It started to happen. I started to see the changes in my attitude. I started to see the changes in just everything. Like used to back in the day when I was a kid, during wrestling, I would get depressed. I would just, you know, you would lash out or you would just be angry or you feel misunderstood. Now, if I feel depression, I start to ask myself questions like, what's really going on, man? You know what? Oh, you just, okay, this didn't work out this way. So you were upset about this. And this is what's got you feeling like this. You know, I can actually ask myself and get to the core questions now. And it became amazing. So it helped me get back in that journey, man. It gave me life again. Wrestling gave me life again. Once I got back to realizing I can do it. And I was like, wait, so I started to look into being able to go to college. Once I started to figure that out, I was like, oh, I can go back to college.
Awesome. Yeah. And now you're thinking, okay, I can go back. So man, this is a great story, man. I hate to even interrupt. You keep going, but
you're good.
So you're 18 years old. You're kind of running with the wrong crowd, but it's probably the crowd you grew up with. So it's you
feel like it's the right crowd. You know, you feel like it's loyalty there.
Yeah, you have a loyalty. Okay, this group, we're over on this side. We don't like the guys from that side. This guy, and now the guy, I hate to go back to this topic, but the guy that got beat up, how's he doing now, or do you know?
He's, as I've known, because I have a no contact order, so I can't reach out to him. You know, like I always thought about him. I always was like, man, I always wanted to be like, man, I just want to know that like. He wasn't a target, you know, it wasn't planned for him. It wasn't delivered. Like, I don't want anybody, because I understand now what things and effects that it can have on other people. They can be challenging God because of situations like that. Like, why me? And it was not meant to be him, you know, like it was not specifically him. God did not send us to him. You know, I would be wanting people to understand these things, but I just didn't want to risk getting in trouble because I had a no contact order. Even though I'm off parole and everything, I just don't know how that will work. So I just, you know, I just keep it in my prayers and just be like, man, you know what? I'm just keep doing right. And as long as I keep doing right, I just pray that his life is okay.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that is man, that's tough. So, I mean, it's tough from all different angles. You know, the consequences of an action that affect, I mean, because that puts you on a trajectory of losing basically your freedom,
Yeah.
and it did whatever damage it did to that guy or his
Yeah.
family or then the other people. And it's like, and I feel that when people are, because you know, when you're a teenager, people get in fights. You know, it's
Yeah.
just, and it's hard to control. And especially, I feel like if, like you said, you're with a group, people, kids want to fit in. They that group mindset can kind of take place. The every town has their town versus the other town, and it's just a scary thing because I sometimes compare these situations to the game Django, you know, where you stack the
Yeah.
right, because one false move and everything you work so hard for can crumble. One false move, all those 5 a.m. workouts are out the door. One
Yeah.
false move, you're no longer on the team. One false move, not only are you not on the team, the 5 a.m. workouts are out the door. Now you're in jail and you've got to rework to get your freedom back. Or, and like you said, you're losing years of your life, or you're at least even, you know, you're missing out on what the other people are. We're out here taking it for granted, right?
Yeah.
Your peers, your other 18-year-olds are, you know, getting ready to go to college or getting ready to start their new job or whatever, and it's a totally different world. Um, so, but I think that with what you're sharing here is that you have a story that can help guide youth that might be where you were,
Yeah.
you know, and that's one thing that I think that you can use, that you can make the best of with everything you've been in, which is why I think that it's great that you know, you're on a team with young young men that perhaps you can guide them. And then, so how did you, from your steps, you're 18, the incident happens, go to jail, get out of jail, another incident happens, you're already thinking, and I could understand your mindset there because you're thinking, well, I already got my felonies. What's it matter? And I, now without having personal experience, but I guess book experience or reading on these things,
Yeah.
when people get in that mindset and they go to jail, the prison attitude or the jail attitude can kind of get in your head because you're around these people constantly that
Yeah.
are going to get out and going to go do the same things. So I could see how, you know, they say that the 5 people that you surround yourself the most are the 5 people you're most likely to be like. So if you're constantly around bad dudes, I could see how that can wear off, especially if you're kind of like walking down the wrong path to be beforehand.
Yeah, I can
So,
honestly say the biggest change that helped me in prison that like people would be surprised, it came from isolation. You know, like the times where I did get into a trouble and I was in the hole, even though the hole is punishment, and I see a lot of people cannot come from back from the hole. And I understand that it is very mentally brutal, but I took it and I used it to be like, you know, like I'm just in the tank with myself. And I'm over here and I got to think about myself. What landed me here? What got me here? What my mindset? It's my mindset every time. The answer to all my problems is my mindset, even the way that I perceive things. Even though even somebody may be doing something to oppress me or make me feel triggered, you know, and I'm over here like, but why do I have to react? Why am I playing into the game?
mhm.
If they want me to react, that's why they're doing the things they're doing, antagonizing me, making me do the things that they want or trying me. Why am I still giving into it? Why do I keep doing the same thing over and over and over? I keep getting angry, I keep blowing up, and I keep getting in trouble. There's always that was cycle, you know?
Yeah, it's the pattern, and I like how you made this point because they can. It's your response that's ultimate. They can do and say and try to, like you said, hold you down or, you know, keep you in trouble. But if you give them the response, it's making it easier on them. And we're all guilty of that, right? Because we
Yeah,
all have had our times where somebody does, and it's easy to get pissed off
yeah,
and react. But it's like, how can you, instead of react, take it, respond in a way that is going to keep you out of trouble, or is just going to, because yeah, there's a lot of people who want to bring other people down because of their own thing, but it's up to us not to react in that way. But it's easier said than done,
Definitely.
of
Definitely.
course. But I agree too with the mindset part of it, right? Because it's your mindset that's gonna, and it's the same in sports and wrestling. That's why wrestling is so great, because people say,
Yeah.
oh man, it's about your mindset. You gotta go in there. You know, I've had matches where I'm looking at the guy, I'm like, okay, dude, I'm toast, but I can't let myself think that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it physically looks like, dude, but it's like, okay, I'm still gonna have a good mindset going in. Okay, I still gotta believe in myself, right? So so you go through that. Now you get, now when you're now, I could also understand the part about being in a hole. I've always wondered about that when I see movies and stuff, right? The guy's, he's in trouble, they throw him in the thing, but I feel like that is the time, because it's you with your own thoughts. And I mean, just like when people meditate, or people,
Yeah.
go take a long hike in the woods, or go out in the wilderness for a while. I mean, in biblical stories as well, that's where people kind of find themselves. So
Yeah.
I have always wondered about that, because I think it would be kind of painful to be there by yourself. But then again, I always wondered, well, wouldn't that be kind of helpful for the person, because they got to sit in there with their own self. And as long as the security guards don't come, or the guards don't come in and, give you heck every, like you see in some of the movies. But
Yeah.
like, I could understand how that being in that situation would actually be beneficial to a strong soul, to look at themselves and make a determination on it.
Yeah. Because I
Um,
believe anybody working on like anxiety, anxiety, all of us face. We all get nervous. We all want to fight, flight, freeze. We all experience these things. But being able to understand that we're just in an anxious mood is a big one, just being able to be like, oh man, I'm just anxious right now. That's why I feel like that. I get hot, you be over here, you start shaking and you don't even notice you're shaking, and you be like, oh, you start catching those things like, oh, I'm anxious right now. What am I anxious about? So then that was just helpful in that way. Like I was just being able to be like, all right, you got a lot of anxiety, man. You got a lot of anxiety. That's why you
right.
respond like you thinking it's the end of the world. You thinking somebody's coming to try to hurt you or do something. You're just anxious. You're overthinking now. And now you're becoming paranoid. And then you just start to think like, oh, you're just taking yourself down a mean path. Come on, pull it back a little bit, slow down, breathe, think about this first fully, give yourself different options, like, hey, all right, is it all crumbling right now? Is everything actually over with where you could just say, you know what it is, I don't care anymore? Is life really that bad?
Mm-hmm.
Do you still got breathing air? Do you have an outdate? That's one thing I have to keep reminding myself, like, hey, you got an outdate. At the end of the day, you're not in here for the rest of your life. You got an outdate. So
Right.
don't get caught up in the shenanigans that people can play, because you're not doing life. You're going home one day. How are you going to be how are you going to respond when you get home? How are you going to act in society when you get home? You say you want to be a businessman. You say you want to do these things. You ask yourself and you create goals and you say you want these things. How are you going to get there if you're still angry or if you're still lashing out? Just understanding that things about myself. And I was like, okay, I want to be this guy. I have to move like that guy. I have to become that. So
That's good. You got to become what you want. You got to make
exactly.
that. It doesn't just magically come to you. You have to make the changes.
Yeah.
It comes from within. So you get out of jail, you finally serve all your time. 8 years of your life from age 18 to 26 is spent jail, prison, right? So
Yeah.
you're in there, and then you get out, and then what happens once you get out?
So me and my fiance, we just had a bunch of plans and we was like, we're betting on it, like, hey, I wrote these plans for my life and she had hers. And we were like, this is what we're going to do. So going through it, I was just like, hey, I'm going to go get a job. I came home 2 weeks. I was at a temp service job for 6 months. And I told myself, I was like, I was going to start a business. I'm like, I'm going to start me a business. That's what I want to do. I'm going to start a business. I want to work for myself, and I'm going to put my foot and my effort into it all. So I started a cleaning business called Family Finish Cleaning, and it started doing well. I was outside passing out my business cards, meeting the community, actually just, getting to know people. I was really getting to know a lot of business owners and other people. And I'm like, wow, people are really like, and they're supportive. They like to see it. People were really like proud of you, just seeing you, just like, wow, people don't pass out business cards just walking around that much anymore. Flyers. I'm going to every gas station, everywhere. Can I hang this flyer up for my business? Hey, can I hang this everywhere? And it was just like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's cool. You get no's, you just take a no and you just keep moving, like, hey, thank you. I thank you for your time. And you just keep going and you don't stop. And next thing you know, it just started to be like, oh, I'm getting calls, I'm getting referrals. And I love quality. So I took pride in all my work, and it was my business started up well. And then I was like, hey, you know what? I want to start my own nonprofit. I want to get back into wrestling. I want to coach. I was entering little tournaments here and there. I had drove to Case Western. I was going to Notre Dame before they closed D2 college. Before they closed, I was driving. I was reaching out to the coaches. I reached out to a lot of coaches before I went to Iowa Central.
Okay.
And I kept trying to figure out how can I get into wrestling. I just didn't know the steps. Then one coach, he was just like, hey, you can come to our practice room and just check us out, and then we could try to figure out how we can get you here. So I went and did that, and then come to find out they're about to close. So I went to their room probably like twice, and that just started a bug for me. I was like, no, I got to wrestle. I got to wrestle. I need to wrestle. I cannot. I felt it. I was like, yeah, I feel like I can still hang. I need to get in there. So then I entered the Bob Del Rosa. Oh, man, that was a rude awakening. Yeah. I wrestled some guy from Army West Point. Oh, man, he was strong. I entered at 184, and I was in his shape. I wasn't nothing. I was just like, man, I'm getting out here. This guy was so strong, and I was like, yeah, he didn't take me down right away. And I'm like, oh, man, hold on. I haven't wrestled for a while. I'm like, he didn't take me down right away, but he ended up getting me, pinned me. And I was like, but, man, I still felt good. Right. I still felt good about it. And then I wrestled a guy from Ithaca, and I was like, we scrapping. I'm like, hold on, man, I'm doing this for real. So then I started my own nonprofit, and I started coaching kids, and that was going really well for the year. Like that was honestly the best year of my life, I felt at the time, because I had just found out I was having my son.
Cool.
And then I was doing the wrestling with the kids, and we were with each other every day. These kids had bought into the program, and we were working hard, running 5Ks every morning, going to get a lift in. Then we were on the mats, and then we were going to get food, and then we're doing it all again tomorrow. And it was just like, it was perfect. So when I got back into that, Caden King was just now about to win his second state title. And I went down to state to watch him, and he came to help out my kids a lot. He was coming to the club to help out the kids a lot. Cool. And he asked me like, man, you think you still want to wrestle? Like, man, you got it, man. You want to get back into it? I'm like, I don't know. Then the kids was like, do it, coach, do it. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's see what's going on. And then he called, he talked to Luke Moffitt, the coach at Iowa Central. Great guy, man. He called me the next day. He asked me, he was like, hey, Derrick, I hear you want to wrestle. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you got a week. You think you could be down here when school starts? He was like, I got an apartment and we can get you down here. You just got to be able to cover rent, and you can do that. I'm like, looked at my fiance. I said, man, I'm going to college.
Awesome.
And she was excited. I was excited. I was like, wow, I'm gonna be a college wrestler. Let's do it. So I moved to Iowa, and man, it's been a ride. It's been a ride.
It's been a ride. And then, now this is year one of wrestling for you in college. Is that correct? Or year two?
This is my second year now.
Year two. Okay.
Year two. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So that's what's up, man. So you just said, okay, the coach said you got 1 week, and you said, yep, I'll be there.
I'll be there.
And you packed up from Ohio? You were still in Ohio?
Yeah. Just packed up. Never been to Iowa. Never knew anybody. I'm just like, hey, I'm going to do it. Why not? I'm betting on myself, man. I got to.
Yeah. And then so you go out there, and now you're in the heart of it all with Ohio's the heart of it all with how we call ourselves, but Iowa with wrestling.
Wrestle Town.
Wrestling Town. and the college you're going to is the number one junior college in the country, pretty much, for wrestling, right? Or right
Yeah,
up there. What?
yeah, we're right now. I think we were ranked 1 from the coaches poll, but right now statistically we're ranked number 3. But yeah,
Yeah,
we're pretty we're loaded.
you're
Loaded.
loaded.
Yeah, we're
You're
loaded.
loaded. And what weight class are you now?
So I'm 174 right now.
Okay, cool, cool. And how many? You guys go to a lot of tournaments, right? So you've been able to get a lot of matches in.
So far this year we've been to Grandview and we've been to the Yellow Jacket Open. We got BVU we got a tournament as soon as we get back off of break, December 6th. So yeah, that's
Okay, cool,
exciting.
man. That dude. It's a fantastic story. And now, what was your? You mentioned that you had a nonprofit. What was your nonprofit called?
Oh, it's called Matt King's Wrestling Club.
Oh, nice. And now, is that still going, or is that stopped until you're done, or are you
I
gonna?
had to stop it because I didn't have the coaching staff and the kids. I know, like, I was putting a lot of my time involved. So it was like I didn't want to put somebody in there, and the coaches, the kids really bought into the program. So they were like,
Okay.
I'm like, man, I want to keep that same effort, So I'm gonna start it back up when I know I can put my same effort I want involved into it.
Yeah. Dang, man. Now, what have you learned from being a college wrestler?
Oh my gosh, patience, understanding, actually learning how to wrestle. Oh, just so many qualities, man, and staying like, having more fun. It's now that
Mhm.
I'm older, I know how to have fun. So like it felt better. Like wrestling is no longer a chore. You just think about practice like, oh man, it's about to be a hard day. Every day is a hard day,
Yeah.
like embrace every day. It's going to be hard. I understand that now. I can go in there and smile. I'll go in there if the locker room's quiet, I'll be like, man, why y'all all quiet in here, man? Come on, y'all. We about to get ready. Like if we had a long week off, like I know I'm going to be in the group chat and I'm gonna be messaging everybody like, hey, y'all ready? Let's go Monday. Let's get after it. Let's come in there. Coach don't need to know, but we can have a hard day. Let's go in there and let's go hard today, y'all. Let's not play around. And they be all for it. Like, you right. Let's go Monday. We all coming with that attitude. And then next thing you know, it'll just be the whole week and practice be great. And the energy is just beautiful, man. College energy is beautiful. Still being around the optimistic, the young, the vibrant, they're hungry. I love it, man. It's
That is a very good point, because the some of life's realities or things that can beat down people as they get older aren't in, because the optimism you used is a good word, because the college age kids, for the most part, have that belief that all these things are possible, and it's great. And I think that all those things are possible, but what
yeah,
happens is, over time, people start hearing they're not, or something doesn't go their way, and instead of getting back up, they take that no. Like I liked it earlier in your story when you were talking about your cleaning business, how you said you got no's but you kept going. I mean, I've always had the thought that every no puts you closer to a yes, right?
yeah,
So
yes,
it's like, okay, that person, I had to get a no from that person so that I can find the person that's going to say yes. But if I don't ask the person and I don't get a no, I'm still far away from a yes, because most of the time your first approach isn't going to be a yes,
right,
right?
right,
It might take no's and no's. And you hear stories of great salespeople. One of my favorite motivational speakers is Les Brown, and he has a story of when he was going door to door selling, and all the no's he took until he finally started making the sales. And so I think that with I've found that yeah, it kind of keeps you more youthful. Right now, I think that you're still a young man myself, like, because I feel like you're a perfect age to be wrestling, because I felt like around the age of 30, you have
yeah,
more experience in your mind. You've went through, and now you in particular have went through a lot of difficult times that you've overcame. Um, so you have that life experience, and your body, although the injury recovery might not be as quick as 18, 19, but there's a lot of strength you still have. You've hit the grown man phase of strength, right? Where you
Yeah.
got the grip and you got the man weight on you, right? Because as you get older, you don't get like per se, there's just I don't know how to explain, but
I
man weight.
definitely understand. It's like, man, you just, you got a good solid foundation even when you're
Yes.
walking, you just feel strong even when you walk.
Yeah. And I think when I always compare when I was 32 years old, Forrest Griffin was also 32 years old, and he was the UFC light heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And I remember going for a jog and thinking, man, I'm the same age as the champion. You know, like, so
Yes.
I think it's an age where it starts to kind of all fit together, and you're still on the incline if you're taking care of yourself. Now you can meet
Yeah.
some 30, 32-year-olds and they're on the decline, but part of it's in your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say most of it's in your mind because you hear the way that people talk to themselves, and then that become reality.
Yep.
Um, I let other people can say whatever they want about me. That's their opinion. But there's certain things I won't say about myself. I don't call myself old. Even when I'm wrestling a 20-year-old, I'm not old. You
Not.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm, even if I can't bench press as much as other people, I don't call myself weak. I'm improving at. There's just certain things that I won't say negative about
Yeah.
me because there's enough people that will say negative about you. Why would I add that pressure onto my shoulders when they're already carrying a lot of weight?
Exactly.
So
That's
it's like, so I think your story, man, it's fantastic. I mean, I feel a lot of, I don't know if the word is empathy or compassion or I feel bad for the first part of your story, right? But I
yeah.
think that sometimes people have to learn these lessons. I mean, for whatever, we all have our own different,
It
you can
gave me
talk to
purpose,
100 different people, and every person's going to be different, but and we all, what I can say is that we've all been, when I was 17, 18, I was getting in fights too, and so it just, nothing happened like that. And I wasn't, they were, but a lot of young guys get into fights,
Yeah.
and especially when you're around guys and your ego doesn't want to take a lot of times your ego doesn't want to take the loss of backing down or doing what doesn't seem cool to your peers who at the time have such a strong impact on you.
Yeah.
And I guess that for your what you're doing with helping the youth is that, if there's a way to like penetrate through and kind of get into the minds of kids, it's easier said than done, but to not let that, because kind of like what you're saying in the locker room, right? So if you're the guy in the locker room who's bringing everybody up and you're saying this week's going to be awesome, but at the same point, if there's somebody saying negative, it's easier for the negative person to pull everyone else into a negative than it is for the person who is being positive to bring everybody up.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to come up with the excuses than it is to come up with the reasons why, or
Yeah.
to, because we've all seen that where there'll be somebody in a class or whatever and their energy can zoink everyone's down.
Yeah. And the
So
positive guy has to keep more consistency. The positive guy, he comes in one day low energy. They asking you what's wrong. Like, is there something wrong? You got to keep it up. Like when you
yeah,
want to be the positive guy, you want to having a good effect on people consistently, and you want the room and the culture to change. You have to be that way every day.
yeah,
Because that negative guy, he can come in there one day and change it. So if you're not going to be positive today, tomorrow, the next week, and make it a lifestyle, it's kind of defeating the purpose, because negativity can bring it down real fast.
it's funny you say that. You got to be, because people ask you that, and I've had that. I've had a couple of days where, man, I'm kind of in a little more pain than normal. And the
Yeah.
guy's like, "You okay? You don't seem." I was like, "No, it's nothing. It's just that, dude. Like, physically, but that
Physically, yeah.
physical is coming off on my mind, or coming off, and the guys are worried about me,
Exactly.
And it's like, um, now with the training and getting your matches in and your practices in, have you do you experience any kind of toughness as far as that, like any kind of compared to how you remember it when you were younger, or do you still feel like you're
Oh
fine
man,
and good to go?
it's a couple days. So like if I do a leg workout, these kids they bouncing back in a day or two.
Yeah.
It's giving me like 4, like I'm
Yeah.
like my legs
Yeah.
are tore. I'm like, man, I can't do any more plyometrics, like I can't do it right now. My thighs are on fire. I gotta stay in stance in motion for this long right now. It's crazy, but I do it. I'm like, man, but
Yes.
it hurts. But it's
Yeah.
just like I just try not to, no matter what, if I do fail or like just fall, I make sure I gave it my all. I gave every ounce that I could, even when I was hurting or
Hmm.
whatever. And then, hey, all they can see is effort. That's why I measure myself off of is effort, not who lifts the more. I try.
Hmm.
I'm
Right.
trying and I'm gonna continue to try and I'm gonna give my effort every single day. If I see there's a guy working harder than me, I'm gonna give the effort that he's trying to give until I can't.
That's
That's
right.
that's my approach.
Yeah, because that's the great thing about, I think, sports and I'm going to say in wrestling in general too, is that if you put that effort in, I like wrestling because you can put that effort in and you can start to improve and you can start to see it, and it's, even if you're not getting the W's, the wins,
They'll
you
come.
will get
You get
them.
them.
You can
Yeah.
get them, but you're seeing it, and it's providing something inside of you that is kind of can't be matched, right? Because the the discipline that it takes to do all the things at practice, plus if you're able to do workouts outside of practice, after practice, the push-ups, the pull-ups, the sit-ups, the squats,
Yes.
the runs, the 5K runs, like you were saying you did with the guys you were training. Um, it's like all of that together, it builds a frame, and you can. And the exciting thing to me is like trying to catch people who are ahead of you. You
Yes.
know,
Yes. That's the
um,
same. I got an addiction for it. I'll be looking
yeah,
at everybody. I'm like, oh yeah. I even go up to them in practice. I see somebody sprint real fast. We might be doing sprints around. I'll
uh-huh.
just be looking at everybody that's running real fast. I'll run up beside them and be like, hey, you think you faster than me? They'll be like, what? I'll be like, hey, on the next sprint, we racing. As soon as we get up there, I think you faster than me. And they be like, all right. They might be beating me, or I'll be like, oh, I got him on that one, but I go and find them. I'll be like, hold on, who running the fastest today?
Yeah.
All right, you know what? I'm about to push him even more now because now he's running too fast for me. I got to see if I can catch him.
Derek, for me, it's when we start the sprint, when we would run sprints at the beginning, I would always start slow. Like I just off the whistle, the guys are going, but I would watch the people in front of me, I would watch their heads as they would run. And when I saw the guy do this, move his head down just slightly, oh, I can catch him
I can catch him.
because he dropped his head. He's tired.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I can catch that guy. Let me see if I can
Yeah.
catch.
I'll be like, even on our long distance runs, if I see somebody, if they stop and tie their shoe, I'm
Yeah,
like, I got him. I
I
can't let
got
nobody that just stop and tie the shoe keep reading me. No, I
it.
got him.
Dude, well, I'm man, I'm glad that we got to meet, and I'm glad, like, I mean, I
Definitely.
feel your story is something that you got to take with you. What are your plans? So you're going to be finishing year two of wrestling. Now I know that the world, the way it is so unpredictable. I'm sure that, if I would have asked you 5 years ago, are you going to be wrestling in college? You'd be like, huh, right, maybe you were like dreaming of it, but you don't know. I mean, you don't know how things are going to play out in the world. That's the beauty of it, right? That I
Right.
love that saying, you make plans and then God changes them. But what are you kind of thinking that your next path,
So,
your next steps are going to be?
so for my goals, I know my effort. I'm continuing to strive for GPAs, keep high GPA, keep keep all that, keep my effort high. So I'm gonna transfer to another college somewhere. I'm thinking about staying in Iowa just because me and my fiance are down in Iowa right now. She has a job at the college. And so I'm like,
Cool.
hey, you know what? I'll probably stay in Iowa, try to get to another Iowa college, either it's NAIA or division, wherever. As long as I continue to touch a mat, I could continue to improve and just continue to, while I'm getting my degree, because I want to get my master's or maybe my PhD. I want to go as
Cool.
far as that. So I'm like, I'm gonna do it while I'm wrestling. I got all the years to wrestle and do it. So while I'm doing it, I'm gonna continue to wrestle while I go for these high degrees.
Well, and that's great too. And if I'm correct me, I might be wrong about this, but if you're at a JUCO now, junior college, you got 2 years to wrestle there,
Yep.
and then you can go do another 4 years at another school.
Yeah.
So when you finish uh, your 2 years, you'll have an associate degree, or will you have
I'll have an associate's.
cool, and then you can go to another 4 year school,
And by the time I'll be done, I'll have my master's.
and you'll be able to keep wrestling
for 4 years. Yeah.
Wow. You see, I think that's brilliant, man.
That's what I thought. I was like, it kind of worked out, not like circumstances, but I'm like, wow, I get to chase what I love, and it makes the degree a lot easier. Like I'm doing what I love while I'm doing it, so it just makes it just more better for me. I'm like, all right, I feel like I'm in high school again. I say it all the time, like, man, I feel like a high school student. Like, I got a routine, I got to go to school, and then after school, I got to go to practice. Like, I enjoy it. I enjoy the structure of it.
What's your what are you studying right now?
So I'm studying a business and administration.
Okay, that's what I'm into, business administration. Yes, that's great. And then and I think that's really a good choice too, being that you're an entrepreneur with your cleaning business, and with the wrestlers as well. I mean, working with them. I mean, who knows what doors will open for you in the future with that. But and I really think you should be. I don't know if you are right now, but a book would be great. There is a book I read recently. Be a champion of life. Be a champion in life. And that book was awesome. And this guy was a wrestler, and then he got into some trouble. His was a little different. It was with drugs, but he got into trouble, and then he got out of jail after being in and out. I mean, in that aspect of his story is very similar to yours. He got out, but then he would be right back in. He went in again, and he was in and out. But he went on to wrestle in college, and I think he was 35, and he made it to the national tournament of JUCO. So, but his book was like freaking awesome, dude. It was like Breaking Bad / wrestling, like Breaking Bad meets wrestling.
Yeah.
And I think that for guys that go through stuff like he's been through and that you've been through, like leaving back some words that people can pick up. And it's like these stories, they don't all have the same details, but there's things in these stories that people can catch on to, right? People might have felt like, well, I messed up when I was 18 years old and my life went this direction, but you're like, dude, well, it doesn't have to stay in that direction, right? It doesn't have to keep going down. You don't have to stay on the avalanche of the snowball going down the hill. You can put on a jacket and turn that snowball into melting ice, and then you can change directions and start climbing up the hill. Like there's options, but sometimes it's hard to see through when you're going down the hill in the avalanche.
Yeah.
Right. But you're proof that it can be changed, that you can make mistakes, because everybody has. I mean, it's annoying when people act like they don't make mistakes. If you haven't made mistakes, you also haven't lived. I mean, what, you sitting there watching, TV all day, that's a mistake in itself, right?
Hey, Tosh, I'm on the podcast.
Oh yeah, so
you're fine.
Yeah, man. So well, dude, Derrick, thank you for jumping on here with me. Your story is awesome. I say write it down or keep going on to other people's podcasts and keep working with young kids, or the youth, because you have a story that is very uplifting, and you can help people through. I mean, all this stuff you went through can now be a lesson, and you've got an opportunity to do something great with it, and you already are, and it's like to come back after all that, to put it in the rear view, like we talked about that before, like I spent half my life in California and if in Los Angeles, and if you live in Los Angeles for a good period of time, Tupac becomes he's part of the culture there, and he's got that song rear view, looking through the rear view. And that's kind of what you got to do, is you got to put all that in the past.
Yeah.
And then you got to stop looking in the rear view at and focus on, and on what's in front of you,
Yeah.
And so I think that's what you're doing now. And I'm really happy to have met you, become friends. And I want you to have a bunch of success, man.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see how it goes. And I want you to go get, that master's or that doctorate or whatever, and then use that to help kids who might find themselves in a situation, right? Because even if you could steer one kid off of going on that path that you went down for those years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
man, I appreciate it a lot, man. I really do. I'm like, this made it's amazing. This was an amazing experience. It was awesome. You are amazing, man. And I love what you're doing for the sport, and I love what you're doing for the world. Everything you're doing for everybody is so. I tell you, man, you inspire me. You know what I'm saying? Every sport, every story. Like when I just watch all your reels. I just be like, this guy, man, he's the guy, man. He's just got it. Like it's a lot of guys that I just look at in the world and be like, man, they got it, man. I love their fire. I love their fuel. I love their purpose, their visions, and it all, man. And you are one of those guys, man. And I really am grateful.
Hey, thanks, Derrick. I'm glad that I'm still able to wrestle and do it, and I'm happy that the videos have caught on like that. I wasn't expecting that, you know what I mean? But I was like, I'm gonna make I'm gonna film my videos and put a little humor behind them, because I gotta be realistic of where I am and compared to some of my competition.
Right. No, like you're really wrestling good guys. Like everybody in college is pretty good, man.
Yeah, that's what I tell my friends and my buddies. I say, man, you don't find no fish in college. Right, because in high school you can find some kids that are fish. Their mom or dad signs them up to wrestle, or they just looking for something to do. And they're goofing around with it. You don't find nobody. No, I haven't seen any college wrestlers who are there just to goof around.
No, everyone takes it serious, man.
They're taking it serious.
He wants to be here.
Yeah, they want to be there. They're paying money to go to college. I mean, and if they're not paying money to go to college and the school is giving them a free scholarship, you better be real afraid. They're good.
You better hope he's paying.
So yeah. But Derrick, man, hey, thanks for coming on the podcast. Got one real quick final question for you before we take off. What time is it?
It's swine time.
Yeah. All right, Derrick. Thanks for coming on, man. Where can people find you as far as social media?
They can find me on Instagram at King D 3.15, KINGDEE 3.15.
All right, man. All right, Derrick. Thanks, buddy. We'll see you on the next one.
All right, man. Thank you. Have a good one. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.